Okay, are you ready to dive into the Japanese art and culture scene? Because you guys have given us a real mix of sources this time. It's like we're going on a cultural treasure hunt.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Audio in Japanese, film lists, even hot spring recommendations.
Wow.
So our deep dive today is all about giving you, the listener, like a curated snapshot of what's hot in Japan right now.
Yeah, I like that.
It's perfect whether you're planning a trip or just, expanding your horizons from home.
And what's really interesting about all these sources is the range.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing these established institutions and these up-and-coming artists, global perspectives.
Yeah.
It really paints this multidimensional picture of what's happening in Japan right now.
Yeah. So first up, the art world.
Right.
The Yayoi Museum is creating some buzz with Art Walk.
Right.
It's their exhibition on the history of publishing.
Cool.
And, I'm already thinking, imagining those intricate woodblock prints and illustrations, it seems like it would be a real visual feast.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, the Yayoi Museum, they're known for their focus on Japanese illustration.
Yeah.
And it seems like this exhibit is asking these bigger questions, like in our digital age.
Right.
What's the lasting power of print? How did these artists and craftspeople from, back in the day, how did they shape the way that we see the world?
Exactly. Yeah. And speaking of shaping the way we see things, you know that story about the potential William H. Dorsey painting discovery?
Oh, yeah, that was wild.
In a recycle shop, no less.
Crazy.
What struck you about that?
Well, I mean, if it's authentic,
Aye.
it's a huge art history moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Dorsey was this prominent 19th century African-American artist.
Right.
And so few of his works are actually known.
Yeah.
So it just makes you wonder how many other treasures are out there just waiting to be rediscovered.
Right, like hiding in plain sight.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it really underscores the importance of preservation. And, keeping an eye out at your local flea market or thrift store.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to find.
Yeah, exactly. But, on a totally different note, we have Future Visible.
Okay.
And this is an exhibition that's highlighting work by artists with disabilities.
Interesting.
And it seems to be tapping into this, growing movement in the art world,
You're right. There's definitely a shift happening.
Yeah.
Like a broadening of who gets to be called an artist.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
a Future Visible, it seems to be pushing that conversation forward.
Right.
Challenging these traditional ideas about art and who creates it.
Yeah, and it's not just galleries embracing this shift.
Right.
There's even a street art exhibition in Hibiya
Okay, cool.
that's looking at, the evolution and revolution of this art form. I'm curious, if it will include any artists who bridge that gap between gallery and street art.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It's interesting, because street art was once considered rebellious.
Yeah.
Almost. And now it's being analyzed and celebrated in these exhibitions.
Right.
So this Hibiya Showcase, I'm thinking, will be a blend of those pioneers who, really brought street art into public consciousness.
Right.
And the contemporary artists who are pushing those boundaries today.
Exactly.
And it's interesting how it's become this global phenomenon, with these distinct styles and social commentary woven in.
Right. Definitely a far cry from just, tagging a building.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, switching gears to film.
Okay, let's do it.
You gave us the American Hollywood Reporter top 10 film list.
Yes.
And I'm curious, what jumped out at you?
Well, I thought the inclusion of both blockbusters and indie films points to a healthy and diverse cinematic landscape in 2025.
Sure.
For instance, the sequel to Dune,
Oh, yeah.
the first film,
Yeah.
it was visually stunning
Yes.
and so conceptually ambitious.
It really was.
God, I think expectations are really high for that one.
I loved the world building in Dune. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was really incredible.
But, shifting from the screen to physical spaces,
Okay.
we have an article about the architect Bon Shigeru.
Uh-huh.
And he's known for his innovative use of materials.
Right.
But the article asks this provocative question.
Yeah.
Is it enough to just create beautiful things?
Mm.
It seems like they're hinting at something deeper,
Well, yeah, I mean, Bon Shigeru's work, it often tackles social issues
Yeah.
and sustainability, head on.
Right. Right.
I mean, think of his disaster relief shelters.
Right.
Made from cardboard tubes.
Yes.
Simple, readily available materials. But he transforms them into these functional and even beautiful spaces.
Yeah.
It really challenges us to consider the purpose of design and its impact.
Right.
Does it serve a greater good?
Yeah, and it makes me think about, those Japanese fashion brands that you mentioned.
Okay, yeah.
Like Comme des Garçons and Uniqlo.
Right.
That same idea of design having a deeper purpose. It seems to resonate there too, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've got Comme des Garçons pushing the boundaries with these avant-garde designs.
Yeah.
They're deconstructed. They challenge conventional beauty.
Yeah.
And then you have Uniqlo, which is all about functional minimalism.
Right.
Quality.
Right.
At affordable prices.
Right.
Two very different approaches.
Yes.
But they both reflect this core Japanese design principle.
Right.
Minimalism.
Right.
Stripping things back to what's essential.
And that minimalist sensibility,
Right.
that focus on these essential elements, it seems to echo in a lot of Japanese aesthetics, wouldn't you say?
I think so, yeah.
Almost like a philosophy.
Yeah.
Which brings us to those hot spring recommendations.
Okay.
I'm especially intrigued by Aqua Ignis in Mie Prefecture.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like more than just a hot spring.
It is. It's a whole experience.
Right.
You have multiple baths, each with their own character.
Oh, wow.
Plus a chef-driven restaurant,
Oh, wow.
a bakery,
Really?
a flower shop,
Oh, my God.
an art gallery,
Oh.
all designed with this seamless flow between indoor and outdoor spaces.
Huh.
So imagine soaking in this hot spring,
Yeah.
surrounded by nature,
Yeah.
and then strolling through this gallery
Right.
and ending the day with this delicious meal.
It sounds like they've thought of everything.
Yeah.
And speaking of thoughtful details, what about Sayano-yu in Tokyo?
Oh, yeah.
What makes that one stand out to you?
Well, what's unique about Sayano-yu
Yeah.
is that it uses natural hot spring water, which is a rarity
Oh, wow.
within Tokyo's city limits.
Oh, okay.
So it's like this little oasis of relaxation
Right.
in the heart of this bustling metropolis.
So you're telling me I can get that authentic hot spring experience
Yes.
without even leaving Tokyo?
That's right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But before we get too relaxed, let's talk about these free events happening in Tokyo.
Okay, sure.
You mentioned a New Year Edo experience.
Yes. So think time travel without the machine.
Okay.
You'll experience Tokyo as it was during the Edo period.
Oh.
So we're talking traditional crafts, performances, even samurai demonstrations.
Wow.
It's a way to connect with history in a very tangible way.
That's what I call immersive. And then there's the esports festival.
Yeah.
Talk about a contrast.
Right. Yeah, esports are huge globally,
Right.
and Japan is really at the forefront of that movement.
Yeah.
So this festival is likely to showcase cutting-edge games and technology,
Wow.
maybe even professional gamers.
Cool. So we've got history and high tech.
Yeah,
All in one city.
pretty cool.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But what about those smaller, more local festivals?
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned a Daruma doll festival.
Yes.
What's the story behind those dolls?
Well, Daruma dolls, they're rooted in Zen Buddhism,
Okay.
and they represent perseverance and determination.
Mm.
So traditionally, they're souls with blank eyes,
Oh.
and you paint one eye when you're setting a goal
Okay.
and the other when you achieve it.
Oh.
It's like a visual commitment to yourself.
Oh, I love that.
And they're also believed to bring good luck.
Oh, that's so cool. Not just cute, but with a whole layer of meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of meaning, what about the mochi pounding ceremony you found?
Oh, yes.
Is that something our listener could actually participate in?
So it's a fascinating tradition.
Yeah.
And at the Narima Ward Festival, they actually let visitors try their hand at pounding the mochi.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you, it's a lot more work than it looks.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yeah. But it's not just about the food.
Right.
It's about keeping those cultural practices alive.
Right. And it's about getting a workout. Right.
And that too.
Okay. Before we dive into part 2 of our deep dive, let's take a quick breather.
Yes, let's give our listeners a chance to absorb all this information.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We've talked about art, film, architecture, fashion, festivals, even hot springs.
It's like we've given them a personalized cultural sampler platter.
I like that.
We'll be back in a flash.
All right. Welcome back to our Japanese deep dive.
I know, I am. I'm still thinking about those Daruma dolls.
Yeah,
It's such a cool blend of tradition and personal motivation.
it really is.
It speaks to how the Japanese, view goals and aspirations.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of aspirations, I
Yeah.
wanted to revisit those Japanese fashion brands we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Comme des Garçons and Uniqlo.
Okay.
What specifically caught your eye about each of those?
Well, it's interesting because they're so different,
Right.
but they both kind of embody this minimalist aesthetic that we were talking about.
Right. Exactly.
So Comme des Garçons, with their avant-garde designs,
Yeah.
they're all about, challenging the norms.
Right.
You know, they're not afraid to be unconventional or to push those boundaries of what
Yeah.
we consider beautiful or even wearable.
Right, like they're making a statement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have Uniqlo, on the other hand,
Right.
who's mastered this art of functional minimalism.
Yeah.
You know, their focus is on these high-quality basics,
Right.
pieces that kind of transcend trends.
Yeah.
And they've really made it accessible to a wide audience.
Right. So it's like they're both kind of stripping away the unnecessary,
Right.
but in very different ways.
Yeah, one is about pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
and the other is about, like, perfecting the essentials.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's fascinating how both of those approaches have really resonated
Yeah.
with a global audience.
For sure.
It speaks to the enduring appeal of Japanese design, you know,
Yeah.
this balance of simplicity and innovation.
I know that minimalist sensibility, that stripping back to what's essential.
Yeah.
It really does seem to be this like thread that runs through so much of Japanese culture, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah.
It's evident in the traditional arts like calligraphy, tea ceremony,
Uh-huh.
but also in modern design and even technology.
Yeah, everywhere.
And it makes me think about those hot springs we were discussing.
Okay.
You know, how they offer this sense of escape, stripping away of like the everyday stresses. Like I'm picturing myself at Aqua Ignis right now,
Oh, yeah.
surrounded by nature, soaking in those healing waters.
Yeah, Aqua Ignis is a great example of how the Japanese approach wellness.
Right.
It's not just about, like, the physical act of bathing.
Yeah.
It's about creating this holistic experience.
Right.
You know, the combination of hot springs, nature, art, delicious food.
It's like a full sensory experience.
It is, yeah. It's designed to rejuvenate mind, body, and spirit.
It sounds like the ultimate escape.
It really does.
And then there's Sayano-yu, right in the heart of Tokyo,
Right.
offering that authentic onsen experience, but with natural hot spring water.
Which is amazing because you're in the city,
I know.
but you still get that, like,
Yeah.
real deal.
Right. Yeah. Imagine after a day of like exploring the bustling city,
Yeah.
you step into Sayano-yu and suddenly you're transported to this tranquil oasis.
I know. It's amazing.
It's amazing how
Right.
they've done that.
It really is a testament to, like, the Japanese ability to find serenity,
Yeah.
even in the most urban environments.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
Okay, so we've got relaxation covered.
Right?
But let's not forget about those free events happening in Tokyo.
Oh, right.
That New Year Edo experience. That sounds like a real time travel adventure.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine, like, strolling through these streets,
Yeah.
lined with these traditional wooden buildings,
Oh, wow.
watching these artisans demonstrate their crafts,
Right.
maybe even catching a glimpse of a samurai procession.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a chance to really experience Tokyo as it was, like, centuries ago.
Right.
This vibrant cultural hub, even back then.
It's amazing how they've preserved so much of their history
It is, yeah.
while also embracing modernity.
Yeah.
Speaking of modern, that esports festival,
Oh, right.
it sounds like something completely different.
Yeah, it's a whole other world.
Right.
Full of energy and excitement.
I know.
You probably see, like, the latest gaming technology,
Yeah.
intense competitions,
Right.
maybe even meet some of the, like, pro gamers who are practically celebrities in Japan.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
So whether you're a history buff or a gamer, Tokyo has something to offer.
it does. It really does.
But I'm also drawn to, like, those smaller, more intimate festivals,
Yeah,
like the Daruma Doll Festival in Ume.
Uh-huh.
What stood out to you about that one?
Well, I think it's just this beautiful blend of tradition,
Yeah.
spirituality, and just plain fun.
Right.
You know, those Darima dolls with their determined expressions.
Yeah.
They're such a powerful symbol of perseverance.
I know. I love those little guys.
And the festival itself
Yeah.
is just this lively community event
Okay.
with food stalls, music, lots of colorful decorations.
It sounds like a great way to experience, like, local culture.
Yeah.
And maybe even pick up a lucky charm or two.
Exactly.
And then there's that mochi pounding ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
I'm imagining it's quite a spectacle.
It is. It's a fascinating process.
Yeah.
Very physical and rhythmic.
Right.
And at the Narima Ward Festival, they encourage visitors to participate.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
So you can actually, you know, try your hand at pounding the mochi.
Right.
It's a great way to connect with those Japanese culinary traditions.
Yeah.
And maybe work up an appetite for some delicious mochi.
I know. I'm feeling hungry now.
Me too.
And speaking of food, we can't forget that oyster stew
Oh, right.
being offered at the Tato Ward Festival.
Yes, oyster stew, that warm, comforting dish.
Right.
That's perfect for a winter day.
Yes.
It's a reminder that even in a bustling metropolis like Tokyo,
Right.
there are still these opportunities to enjoy those simple pleasures.
Right.
And connect with those local flavors.
Yeah, so we've got history, technology, relaxation, tradition, even delicious food.
It's amazing.
It's like we're getting a taste of all these different facets of Japanese culture.
Yeah, that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
The diversity, the contrasts,
Hmm.
the seamless blending of old and new.
I know, it's a reminder that even within a single culture,
Yeah.
there's so much to discover and explore. But, beyond all these exciting events and experiences, I'm also struck by this sense of reflection.
Okay.
Like that Portuguese perspective on Japanese fashion.
Yeah.
This desire to express individuality through clothing.
Right.
It really resonated with me.
It is a powerful idea, isn't it? Fashion is this form of self-expression, way to connect with your inner self and project that outward.
Yeah.
And this theme of self-discovery, I think, it runs throughout our whole deep dive.
It really does.
Whether it's through art, nature, even those Daruma dolls.
Right.
These experiences really invite us to look inward as much as outward.
I know, this is getting deep.
I know, right?
But I love it. It's like we're on this quest for both, like cultural and personal enlightenment.
Absolutely. And who knows what insights await us as we continue our journey. Yeah. Maybe we'll discover a hidden talent for calligraphy.
Yeah.
Newfound appreciation for minimalist design.
Right.
Or even a secret yearning to, learn Japanese.
Yeah. I know. I'm starting to think we need to plan a trip to Japan, right now.
Interesting.
But before we get carried away, let's take a quick pause.
All right.
Let all these ideas sink in.
Yes, let's give our listeners a moment to process all this amazing information.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. We've talked about vibrant cityscapes, tranquil hot springs, cutting-edge technology, ancient traditions, even the profound impact of design and fashion.
It's been a whirlwind of discovery.
It really has.
We'll be back soon for the final part of our Japanese adventure.
Sounds good.
We're back and ready for the final part of our Japanese adventure. I'm still kind of processing all the amazing things we've uncovered.
I know, it's a lot.
It really is like we've been given this backstage pass to Japanese culture.
Definitely. And one thing that keeps coming up is this idea of tradition and innovation, coexisting.
Right. Yeah, we've seen it in everything.
Everywhere.
Yeah, from those high-tech esports festivals to the centuries-old rituals at the Shinto shrines. Right, exactly.
And speaking of blending old and new, I wanted to circle back to the architect, Ban Shigeru.
Okay.
We talked about his humanitarian work earlier.
Right.
But that question that the article poses, is it enough to just create beautiful things? It really stuck with me.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It really challenges us to think beyond aesthetics,
It does. Yeah, his designs are about functionality and sustainability.
Right.
And serving a social purpose.
Right.
I keep thinking about those disaster relief shelters.
Yeah.
Made from cardboard tubes.
Right.
I mean, that's a perfect example.
Absolutely.
Simple, readily available materials.
Yeah.
Transformed into something that's both beautiful and practical.
Right. Yeah.
And they're providing shelter in times of crisis.
It's such a powerful reminder that design can be a force for good in the world.
It can, definitely.
And it makes me think about those Daruma dolls.
Okay.
How they embody this idea of perseverance and determination.
There's just something so inspiring about those little round figures. What else can you tell us about their significance?
Well, I mean, they're deeply rooted in Zen Buddhism.
Right.
And they're often used as a visual reminder of a goal or an aspiration.
Okay.
That tradition of painting one eye when you set a goal and the other when you achieve it.
I love that.
It's not just about luck. It's about actively working towards your goals.
Right.
It's like a tangible representation of your commitment.
I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And, it's also a reminder that even when we're faced with setbacks, we have this inner strength to overcome them.
Yeah, and it ties into that broader theme of self-discovery.
Exactly.
That we've kind of been exploring throughout this whole deep dive.
It really does. It's amazing how all these seemingly disparate threads art, design, spirituality, even hot springs.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
Are connected by this idea of looking inward and finding meaning in the world around us.
Exactly. It's about being open to new experiences.
Right.
Challenging your assumptions.
Yeah.
And ultimately, expanding your understanding of yourself and the world.
And who knows, maybe this deep dive has sparked a new passion for some of our listeners.
I hope so.
Or a desire to, explore further.
Yeah, that's the beauty of exploration, isn't it? It opens up all these possibilities.
Yeah.
And whether you're, traveling to a new country or just trying a new activity, it's about embracing that sense of curiosity and wonder.
This deep dive has truly been a journey of discovery. I mean, we've gone from bustling cityscapes to tranquil hot springs, from ancient traditions to cutting-edge technology.
Right.
And through it all, I think we found this like incredible thread of human connection.
Yeah, I know.
And the desire to create, to inspire, and to like find meaning in the world.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. And as we conclude this exploration of Japanese culture, I hope you'll carry that sense of wonder with you.
Yeah. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep seeking out those experiences that enrich your life.
Well said. So until our next deep dive, happy exploring, everyone.